Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now in today's video, 3 completely ridiculous things have happened. 1, I shaved my beard. 2, I've been carrying the same pocket knife for like 2 months. And 3, I started wearing a neck knife. All 3 things completely ridiculous, but at the same time, kind of refreshing. It sort of feels good not to be chewing on my own facial hair. And it feels really good to have an awesome pocket knife that I've come to greatly enjoy. And third of all, well, to have a nice little fixed blade on me at all times, kind of concealed, slim and low profile. This has been absolutely wonderful. So, even though we started this by talking about 3 things, well, obviously this video is really only about 2. And these knives here from Artisan Cutlery. Very, very nice. So here we have the Arroyo, designed by Dirk Pinkerton, which I greatly enjoy his designs and his work. And here, the SeaSnake from Crazy Sharp Michael Emler. Both of these have been absolutely wonderful. I've come to greatly enjoy them, and I've used them at length. And in this video, we're going to go through these in a little bit of detail. But with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Artisan Cutlery who did provide these products for review. Now in the past, we've taken a look at a number of Artisan Cutlery blades, which I've come to greatly enjoy. I do like their fit and finish, the style, and I like the designers they're working with. And in that vein, I've also taken a look at a ton of Dirk Pinkerton's designs. Now, with Dirk Pinkerton, I do enjoy his designs for a number of reasons. First and foremost, the utility-driven purpose. And second is, they're pretty much inspired by sort of alternate grips and a little bit of a tactical feel. And that's exactly what you get here with the Arroyo. And Michael Emler and Crazy Sharp, well, this here is the SeaSnake. This is a follow-up for me to a blade that I've looked at in the past, not by Artisan Cutlery, but rather We Knives when we looked at the Stonefish. This here has a lot of similar look and feel and lines, but a very small package and overall just a good quality utility-driven blade. This is a fun little knife and I do greatly enjoy it. So here on my neck, just kind of sits here and rides, nice and low profile. Just sitting here ready to do some good little utility work, and I have come to enjoy both of these quite a bit. Now the first thing is both of these are in the steel called AR-RPM9, which is a proprietary steel developed by Artisan Cutlery, and very, very cool. First and foremost, I like the idea that they're willing to go outside of the box to try to come up with something new. And if you talk with representatives from Artisan, you know, a lot of these companies, they provide D2, they provide 14C28N. There are a number of offerings out there that have been kind of used a lot in the past. Artisan wanted to be different. They wanted to create a little bit of a different spin on the norm and create a steel that for them would become sort of their base platform. And that's exactly what we get here with the AR-RPM9 steel. Now, where does it fall? It's kind of in that 440C classification, 9 CR18 MOV, and again that 14C28N. A little more corrosion resistance than, say, for example, D2. And it has pretty good wear and edge retention from what I can tell. Now, the first thing I'm going to say, what is the crazy thing for me? While rocking the same pocket knife for almost 2 months, as a reviewer, that's not really the norm. But a couple of things. First, I really didn't ever find the need or the want or the care to take this out of my pocket. That's how much I've just purely enjoyed it. But the second thing is, I really did want to test the steel, and the people at Artisan asked me specifically to do some testing with the steel to see how the edge retention would hold up. And at this point, I have not as much as even touched this up in the least. So after 2 months, and I'm not going to say hard use, I did not hard use this knife, but I used it for typical everyday functions. cutting cardboard, cutting paper, cutting some food, cutting through zip ties, a little bit of cordage, the odds and ends that you do on a regular basis. And I've even used the tip to kind of, get on some screw heads, for example, on my wall plates, just kind of tightening things up, and a lot of little odds and ends. And overall, the edge does feel pretty good. Now I'm going to do a little bit further cutting just to demonstrate the edge geometry, and then we're going to touch this up and we're going to take a look at a couple of paper tests, but we'll do that at the end. And the SeaSnake, well, this is a tiny little fixed blade knife, but for me has been great for a couple different things. First, the general utility tasks, but second, I kind of use this as a little bit of a paring knife. I eat a lot of fruit. I do a lot of cutting of like cheese and salami and different things like that, and a lot of little food prep. This being on me has been great, and I just kind of keep it here. Even if I go into a meeting, not a big deal. You can't tell it's there. If my employer's watching me right now, they're going to be like, dude, what the heck? But hey, it is what it is. I have been rocking this for a couple of weeks now, which again is not the norm. Now, it does take a little getting used to having this sort of cord around my neck. Not a big deal. I am getting used to it, and you can see it's just a little bit tight, but that's not a bad thing. In fact, if anything, it just kind of keeps it right where you want it. Now, this cordage here, you do have the ability, if you want, to kind of pull this and shrink it down. So if you have a different size neck, you could theoretically adjust it. I did have to put a little stop knot on the end to make sure the slip knot didn't pull out, but it does work well. And the best thing is, it's very easy, right-handed or left-handed. You just kind of put it on one way or the other, and not a big deal. Now, for me, what I do think I will do long-term is probably put something like an ulti clip on here so I can rock it in my front pocket, which is always great. I do enjoy that very much, but overall the neck carry has been working, and I'm getting used to it. I'm not 100% there yet, but I am definitely getting used to it. And this knife, for the size, has been definitely great, capable of doing some perfect utility tasks. Again, I haven't beat it up too much. I haven't gone too crazy. And of the two of these, I have definitely used this less. I go to the Arroyo continuously, but I go to the SeaSnake fairly often. So about 2 months of use continuously and about 2 weeks of use continuously. And so now looking at these in a little more detail, well, first just getting a little bit of a closer look here at the Arroyo. So again, just beautifully done. I absolutely love this design. A little bit aggressive, a little bit sleek, but at the same time, just nicely melts away in your pocket. It doesn't have an overly protruding size. It's nice and slim as you look here. And the best thing, the deep ride pocket clip on this is absolutely fantastic. First things first, it has the recessed bolts in it, so nicely done. The recessed bolts there being a wonderful addition to this, helps keep it low profile, but the clip just slides so nicely into your pocket, and the knife does not move. In every single activity, this does not move. I have no concern about this falling out of my pocket. No problem at all. I've carried this literally up mountains, through the woods. I've dragged it all over the place, and it has performed extremely well, and that clip is just rock solid. Now, when you look at the micarta, you will notice that there is a little bit of what I would call like use patina on this at this point. It's getting a little bit uneven looking. You're getting some marks from my pants and jeans and from holding it and gripping it in dirt and grime. And the use patina on this particular micarta is just awesome, and I love it. Looks great, looks the part, and that's exactly what you want out of micarta, just some good hard use loving. Great deployment overall, very smooth, nice weight in the blade, just enough, very smooth, nice little positive click there on the deployment, and just everything so nicely machined, looking wonderful. One of the other features that I greatly enjoy is the design on the jimping, just subtle but awesome. It's not jimping that actually kind of sticks out, rather it's recessed in. So it's almost like they use a little drill, they kind of machine that out and mill it out. It's subtle, but it looks great. And the blade shape here being sort of that, horn design, it's almost like a trailing point design where you end up with a little bit more mass in the back of the blade, thinning out all the way to the point. just that nice heavy duty clip, a very aggressive looking blade. Now that's to each their own. I can say it does diminish the utility purpose just a little bit, being so pronounced. If it was a little less aggressive and a little more centered with the handle, it would have a slightly better utility purpose, but you do get used to it after a while and you can do some fairly useful functional tasks. So overall, the Arroyo, just absolutely awesome. Few last little details. You can reverse the pocket clip, and looking here you have some nice back spacers, a full open body design. Inside just a little bit of skeletonization to keep it light, but this is a light knife to begin with. You can see a cool little lanyard hole just worked into that back spacer there. Very subtle and very nicely done. A little bit of jimping on the underside, and again just everything so butter smooth. Deployment there, no problem, just wonderful. Now the SeaSnake, very simple, not a lot going on. I would say this is sort of that sheep's foot design, a little worn cliffy, little sheep's foot, whatever you want to call it. Full flat grind all the way to the top. You end up here. You have a little jimping on the top, nicely machined. Chamfered edge all the way around, softened so it doesn't hurt your grip, and then you end up with a finger choil, not only in the blade but also in the handle, so a couple of distinct indexing points and a long enough handle that you get a full 4-fingered grip even on a smaller knife. Now if you're not going up on the choil and you're staying back, yes, you do end up kind of gripping this more in the palm of your hands, but that works out very well. Now I do like the G10 here, again, rounded and softened. This particular one in olive. You can get tan, you can get black. I do like the olive very much. Kind of blends in with a lot of the activities that I particularly do, so it works out well for me. Again, this is a Michael Emler design of Crazy Sharp, and in that AR-RPM9 steel. Very, very cool. Now, one little design element that I think, if it was my own personal opinion, I do like a little more meat on the ricasso through that choil area, just so that if you have to grip and bear down and do some harder work, you're not bearing on the thin steel in the grind. You get a little more of that meat of the ricasso a little further, but that's a subtle nitpick and not a big deal. Overall, the bolts are round. They're not going to protrude too far where they create any hot spots, and the knife working wonderfully for utility tasks. Now getting into the sheath, excellent retention, positive click. No concern, this is going to come out, especially where you're carrying it on your neck. Now, as I mentioned, I will probably put something like an ulti clip on here to carry it in my front pocket, but not a big deal. I actually am getting to really enjoy the neck carry overall. You can see a small drainage hole only on one side. You can carry this right hand or left hand if you so choose. Very simple and overall very nicely done from Michael Emler and the people at Artisan Cutlery. And so very briefly, getting into a little bit of cardboard cutting, and again, keeping in mind after 2 full months of use, well here, not too big of a deal still. Nice and slicey, and this is reasonably thick cardboard. I'm not sure how you would, call it or gauge it, but again, just a good, sturdy cardboard box. I'd say maybe this is considered to be double wall cardboard, if that makes sense. And again, just cutting through. Very nice. And the nice thing about it is, well, that sweeping belly just has a continuous slicing motion as you work down and through the material. But again, this is going to be a little bit limited in your draw cuts due to the pronounced tip. If this was centered, you could do it a little bit easier, but as you notice here, generally speaking, working very well. And that did go all the way through. So again, the steel here is extremely well performing in my opinion. Not a lot of snags overall, still cutting cardboard extremely well. And now checking this AR-RPM9 steel in a quick paper test. Couple little snags here and there, but I would say very serviceable. Again, couple little snags here and there on the belly. That's to be expected. And after a couple of weeks of work, I am very impressed. But now the SeaSnake, again, just a perfect little fixed blade utility knife. I mean, this is laser precision cuts. Very precise. Very firm, and the ability just to drive right down and through the cardboard. That is the benefit you get with a fixed blade. And those draw cuts, well, no problem at all. That's what you get with a straightforward tip, kind of straight in line with the handle. So a little bit more utility driven here on the SeaSnake, maybe a little more self-defense in the Arroyo, but both of them have an excellent, excellent overall utility driven purpose. And just real briefly looking at the AR-RPM9 steel on the SeaSnake, well, little snag. I just need to be careful because there's not a lot of blade length, and that first cut I kind of got into the choil just because I wasn't paying attention. Look at that. I mean, very nice. Smooth, controlled, easy, very, very well done. And so what about the overall field serviceability of the AR-RPM9 steel? Well, if you haven't seen my channel, I always use this Work Sharp field sharpener. First thing I will do is strop. So just going to do some light stropping here, a couple heavier passes and lightening up a bit. Now I do have a brown compound on my strop, so a little bit coarse, but that's going to work out well just to finish off this edge, give it a nice little polish, straighten off. If you have a curl on a microscopic level, this will help to straighten it out. So just doing a little work here, straighten out this edge, no problem. And then from there, I like a little bit of a toothy bite, just enough. So I will go to the fine ceramic rod. Listen to that. I can tell you, by feel and by sound, this steel is almost perfect. Okay, and now back to a quick paper test. Wow. I mean, very, very clean. Now, granted, this isn't like telephone paper, I'll give you that. It's just regular printer paper, but overall, very, very nicely done. So I would say, from my perspective, the AR-RPM9 steel, it's not a budget steel. And, well, maybe it's considered a budget steel, but, you know, don't treat it like that. It's a good quality, serviceable steel. So are these knives budget knives? Well, I'm going to go and say they're not budget. They're just nice and affordable. They're in a nice price range. They perform extremely well. Look at this lineup. These two knives are beautiful. The curves on the Arroyo, the utility-driven purpose of the SeaSnake. We have Dirk Pinkerton and Michael Emler teaming up here with Artisan Cutlery for a couple of beautiful blades. So all right guys, there you have it. A look at the Arroyo and the SeaSnake from Artisan Cutlery. Again, Dirk Pinkerton, I love his designs. Michael Emler, solid utility-driven purpose, excellent blades, great steel. To Artisan Cutlery, I am definitely impressed at your AR-RPM9 steel. I think it performs extremely well, and I would say I would definitely like to see it on other blades. A number of notable takeaways from this: excellent materials, great blade shape, awesome design work. Here, a wonderful sheath. I'm actually turning, I'm not going to say into a neck knife type of guy, but I do enjoy it. And overall, just the ability to carry these great blades for the past couple of months and couple of weeks, I have enjoyed them greatly. So now, I have to say, feeling a little bit fresh without my beard, feeling very rejuvenated to have been carrying the same folding knife in my pocket for a while now, having a wonderful fixed blade on my neck, just enjoying these blades. So again, thank you very much to the people at Artisan Cutlery and to Michael Emler and Dirk Pinkerton. Wonderful designs. So all right guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. Hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.